Welcome back. I'm very pleased to see the response that many of you have had towards the first video. Glad that we're all on the same page with this. Also like the increase of discussion in the group. Love it when you come forth and give your predictions, your insight, even if there's not predictions. Just like hearing what you have to say about the sports. Now, not a lot of surprises last night with the NHL playoffs. Anybody who should win did win. However, the Blackhawks were taken into overtime against the Minnesota Wild, spoiling plenty of people, including myself, thinking that it was going to be a blowout. They still can go ahead and win and sweep the series, which they most likely will. I don't see Minnesota winning any more than one at the most against them, and it's going to be a tough game. Now, I did notice that the first video of myself, I did kind of overuse the word and like a freaking dumbass, and I'm gonna give a really good effort not to do that in this one. Now, that being said, I really would like for some of you to go ahead and speak up, come forward, let me know if you want to be in on this. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to do this every day. Would love, there was one, would love to get to know one another a little better like this. It's very dynamic, in my opinion. And like I said, not a lot of other groups, if any, are doing this. So we're pretty trademark, in my opinion. Moving on, as far as what we have in store for us on Thursday, looks right now I am recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Not a lot of props put up. No morning props at all. I highly suspect more will be posted because second day of the month, no way. They're only going to put PM. Now that being said, a little bit of soccer in the morning. Not going to touch that. But the NHL and MLB and NBA, let's dive into that. Right off the bat, we got Ottawa Senators playing at the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I will say that this, to most folks, would seem like a one-sided battle. Montreal has been on the tip of everybody's tongue all season long, while the Senators are up and coming. They've been dealing with injuries all season long and still prevailed, while Montreal kind of bit the horse in the ass, if I can make up my own phrase here to describe how their April and the end of their season went. Now, I do believe that Price is a far better goalie, and I think that his team will perform very well in front of him, especially at home where Montreal has owned as far as I can remember. Now, same thing can be said with Ottawa Senators and really any team in the league. They're going to do a lot better at home. That being said, Ottawa's horrible on the road. Not as bad as San Jose, but right behind them as far as road performance goes in the regular season. Also during the regular season, Anderson was out for, I think, about half the season, whereas Price was, he was in and out, but mostly in. And, Craig Anderson for Ottawa is the best as far as peripheral stats go. As I mentioned in the first one, I kind of got mixed up on Niemi and Anderson. He's got the best GA, he's got the best save percentage as well. He's got one of the better records. He just didn't get as many points for his team, well, the injury. And that's all considering that he played about half the season. It's not that that's for him or against him. That just goes to show how consistent he was when he was playing. Keep in mind that goalies like, say, Martin Brodeur also missed about half the season and fell off the goddamn wagon when he came back. Did not perform at all. Anderson stayed on top. He's coming back. Senators, they're kind of a dark horse, a lot like the Phoenix Coyotes were in the in the last year's playoff. A lot of people are not going to be looking for Senators to advance at all. Montreal's a great team for them to match up against and go ahead and get to the next round. But I don't see that happening, at least not tonight. I would definitely go with Montreal Canadiens between the two. I think they've just got a lot more power. They're both aggressive teams. Ottawa's arguably more physical, but Montreal's more technical. And in the playoffs, you can beat and mash all you want. What's going to come down to it is timely goals and timely goal saving, which Montreal, they get the pick. Now, I'm going to have to skip that myself just because I believe that series will be tight. I do think Montreal will take it in the end. However, I think a better series to be picking tonight is New York Rangers at Washington Capitals. I do believe that the Rangers will edge out the Capitals in the final game, pushing it all 7. And I did have to go back and forth for a while. Honestly, I had the Caps winning in 6, then I had them win 7, and then I finally decided Rangers in 7. and I'll tell you why. Henrik Lundqvist. Now, he's not been the go-to guy during the regular season. I believe he only tallied one shutout in a close game towards the end of the season where other goalies were just getting him left and right. And he's probably has the highest probability of shutting out the opponent in the postseason, regardless of that, and single-handedly winning the game. Washington is elite on offense, but they can be shut down. That being said, Alex Ovechkin went ahead and not only won the Richard Trophy this season, but he set a record for himself with the most goals in a single-month frame. I believe it's somewhere around 16 goals scored in April, which is astronomical. And he also finished the season 56 points out of nowhere. He was kind of under the radar for most of the season. And bam, right at the end of the season, just score, assist. 32 goals, 24 assists. He's definitely prime candidate to lead his team further into the playoffs. He's going to have a tough time, though, against Lundqvist and the Rangers. But both of these teams, as well as I said before, most teams in the NHL, or really any league, but in the NHL especially, play good in the first game of a 7-game, 5-game series, whatever you have. We'll stick with NHL 7 games. They play best at home in the first game. You're not going to see a lot of road wins in the first game, as we saw last night and even last season, where I believe a lot of the games were won on the road after the first game. I do know for a fact, as I mentioned before, Phoenix Coyotes, they won something like 9 out of 10 of their road games in their pursuit of the Cup, and they're not involved in the playoffs this season, rightfully so. But I really like the Capitals at home tonight. They play very well at home, and I did mention that they aren't very well on the road, but they did perform very well. I think something like 6 out of 7 of their last road games were won in the regular season. You're going to have to double check that, check for annotations. I'll definitely fix that if it's wrong, but I'm going to have to pick myself the Washington Capitals, which is going against the Sheep, which might be the right thing to do in this case, because a lot of people see the Rags and they go for it. The Caps, they got some firepower. Now, as far as MLB, still not very confident with that. As I mentioned before, still early in the season. You got some injuries. You got some pitchers who really just aren't showing what they got, while some scrubs, as you might call them. Well, that's an unfair term because they're really performing quite well. But they're defying expectation, we'll say. And while that's going on, while teams are figuring themselves out, you got some teams in new leagues in general. We really just gotta hold off on that, as far as I know. I did notice that a few of you in the group are a little bit more confident, maybe you know a little bit more about these teams, and I love to see it, love the predictions. I would also love for you to put your face up on here and tell us, because I'm not going to be doing it. And like I said, I won't be able to do this every day. I am having to put some time aside just to make sure I get the ball rolling on this, but again, I'd love some help. After that, I would have to say that just off the top of my head, looking at some of these, I do like Boston Red Sox to win, I do like the Braves to win, and I do like the Rangers to win. Even though I'm not confident with Grimm, they're great at home. And what do you know, all 3 of them are Sheep picks. So there you have it. I'm not going to give very much insight on baseball right now. But moving on to NBA, you got the Bulls at the Nets. I don't think the Bulls are as good as everybody else thinks they are. I mean, they lost some pretty pathetic games in the regular season. I'm not going to go into it, but I remember for a while they were on a bad stretch. And, I got some buddies from Chicago, and they're real pumped about the Blackhawks, and they're diehard Bears fans, as you can imagine. But as far as the Cubs and White Sox, they're not very interested, and they are all about the Bulls. And I couldn't get with them. The Bulls are just very disappointing. I've wanted to get with them, just to blend in or whatever, cheer for the same side, but I really got to go with the Nets on this one, which at the moment is at a 0%. Everybody on the Bulls. Now, this is Wednesday posting for a Thursday night game, so that's obviously going to switch drastically, but I do think the Bulls will have the Sheep pick. I'm not going to have to take that. I don't think the Bulls close out the series right now. The Nets are a very good, young, fast team. Speaking of a young and fast team, we got the Blues hosting the Kings again. Now, this is the only game out of the NFL or NHL playoffs that are on the back-to-back to open up. I did notice that the Kings came out real sluggish last night. They weren't looking like the defenders of the Cup, and St. Louis took full advantage of that. St. Louis is a very, very underrated team. They've got, I think, top 5 in offense. I'll double-check that right now while I'm talking to you. But during the regular season, I think they're top 5 in offense. They had some stellar defense. Now, Kings behind Quick, they're always going to be contenders for as long as he's still their goalie. I don't care what anybody says. He had some very bad personal stats this season against some teams in general. But anyways, with the Blues, they're actually 7th in goals against and in 7 PK. Their offense is not anything to write home about, middle of the ground there, but they can fall back on their defense. This is going to be one of those series that these games are ending 1-2, 1-0, 3-2. I do believe that you're going to see a lot of extra time in this series, and I'd be hard-pressed to say the Kings even it up tonight. They're going to have to win at home. St. Louis takes this one too. And as far as Denver Nuggets and Golden State, Denver Nuggets just not going to win on the road. They do win on the road, don't get me wrong. I think the Warriors are just going to close it out at home, take this one in 6 games, and I mean they're tough. They're another real young team, up and coming, and I just what can I say? What can I say? Absolutely nothing. I'm not going to go on. But as far as Thursday we're looking at here, we got Golden State. I also like the Orioles over the Angels, who are trash, and Blanton. I've never liked Blanton as a pitcher for any team he's played with. Now he's with the Angels, who are struggling this season. No way. I should have mentioned this earlier. Orioles are a great pick if you can get that in your nightcap. Might do that instead of NHL myself, but if I do NHL, I'm going to go with St. Louis. The Blues are going to be rocking. Again, not going with the Bulls, going with the Nets, if you're taking the NBA. Do like the Rangers, the Braves, and the Sox. Sort of. Toronto's got some heavy bats, as always, and they're great. But as far as picks go, keeping it rolling, Washington Capitals, probably going to take that one if I don't take Montreal Canadiens to start the night off. What can I say? Those are them. Leave some comments below if you want. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Please speak up as well if you'd like to join in on this fun. I don't really want to be a one-man show, but I will if you want me to. And anyway, YouTube channel, subscribe, and check us out. Glad you could make it. If you got any questions, please shoot me a PM in the ESPN board. Otherwise, see you in the group.